Hey everyone, Dawn of War is back, and honestly, it feels like the perfect time to dive back into the never-ending, grim-dark battles of the Warhammer 40k universe. With the definitive edition, you get to pick from 9 completely unique factions, each bringing their own crazy style of combat to the table. Whether you're all about heavy firepower, sneaky tactics, or overwhelming numbers, there's a race here that's totally your vibe. So, if you've been wondering which faction is worth your time, or just want to see which one might give you that edge in battle, you're in the right place. In this video, we're breaking down every Dawn of War race, ranking them from the top tier powerhouses to the underdog squads that can surprise you when played right. Trust me, by the end, you'll know exactly who you want leading your army into the chaos of the 41st millennium. I'm quickly moving on to the video, and I'm ranking races in Dawn of War. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of tier list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching.
My friends, only 0.1% of viewers subscribe. If you like this type of content, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you in advance for your support.
The races in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Sisters of Battle. Let's be real, sometimes being a hero just isn't enough. Meet the Sisters of Battle, the faction that proves faith alone doesn't win wars. While other races are out there flexing durability, insane range, or ridiculous speed, the Sisters are more like that friend who shows up with good intentions but somehow forgets the snacks. Their faith-based abilities can do cool things in theory, but in the chaos of battle, they often end up looking a bit underwhelming. The core of their army is the Battle Sisters, your standard infantry who try to hold the line while looking stylish in their power armor. Then you've got the Seraphim, basically jump pack wielding chaos stirrers who can harass the enemy with mobility. But let's be honest, they often just end up bouncing around without a clear target. Celestians are their elite eating infantry, tougher than the regular Battle Sisters, but still not quite enough to face off against specialized units like Space Marines or Eldar. And yes, they've got air support with lightning aircraft and heavy hitters like Exorcists, but it's like bringing a Swiss Army knife to a gunfight. You have options, but none truly dominate. Playing Sisters of Battle is kind of like trying to juggle flaming candles. You have to manage faith points while positioning units in a way that actually matters. Faith abilities can swing fights in tight situations, but they are tricky to master. You need to know exactly when to burn a little extra flame or heal an ally. Otherwise, all that potential just fizzles out. In a competitive match, their lack of a clear strategic focus makes them feel like the awkward kid in gym class. They try hard, but the others are just too specialized. The Sisters really shine in team-based multiplayer though think of them as the ultimate support faction. You follow your teammates' lead, provide fire support with Retributors, or swoop in for mobile harassment with Seraphim. They aren't going to single-handedly crush a Tau or an Eldar army, but if you enjoy a tactical, situational style of play where being flexible matters more than brute strength, Sisters of Battle can be a lot of fun. Just don't expect to top the leaderboards. They're here to lend a helping hand, not steal the spotlight. The races in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Chaos Marines and Dark Eldar. Ever wonder what happens when Space Marines and Eldar decide to skip the good guy training and embrace their dark side? Enter Chaos Marines and Dark Eldar, the middle children of the Dawn of War universe. Fun, sinister, and just tricky enough to keep you on your toes. They may not dominate the battlefield like the heavy hitters, but boy, do they make things interesting. Chaos Marines are basically Space Marines with a rebellious streak and a love for summoning demons. Their core infantry, the Chaos Marines themselves, hold the line like any seasoned soldier, but things really get spicy with Raptors, those jump pack maniacs who dive into the heart of enemy lines with zero chill. Then you've got Havocs bringing heavy firepower and possessed units ready to punch through anyone foolish enough to stand in their way. And yes, summoning demons like Bloodletters or Horrors can totally turn the tide, if you don't get caught mid-spell that is. The trick with Chaos Marines is timing and micromanagement. You can't just throw units on the battlefield and hope for the best. You need to respect build orders, plan when to call in demons, and constantly juggle resources. Get it right, and your enemies are scrambling. Mess it up, and you're watching your demons die before they even hit the field. Aggressive mid-game strategies are your bread and butter. Hit hard, summon demons, and keep the pressure up while protecting key strategic points. If you like offensive play with a side of risk, Chaos Marines are perfect. They demand attention, skill, and a bit of chaos, pun intended, but they reward mastery like few other races. They're not for the faint-hearted, but they sure make battles memorable. On the flip side, Dark Eldar are all about speed, fear, and sheer annoyance. Think Eldar, but with a turbo boost and a wicked sense of humor. Their basic infantry, the warriors, aren't much on their own, but throw in YHs for melee chaos and Reavers for fast bike harassment, and suddenly you've got a nightmare on wheels. Heavy hitters like Ravagers and the Talos vehicles round out the roster, giving you the ability to hit hard when you need to, but only for a short, brutal moment. Playing Dark Eldar is like being a ninja with rocket boosters, hit enemy resource points, trash some buildings, and disappear before they can even blink. Engage in prolonged battles? Forget it. Your units are fragile, and your strategy hinges on perfect micro and constant map control. You want to frustrate your enemies into mistakes rather than outmuscle them. Speed and cunning over brute force every time. Reavers are your best friend here. Constant harassment keeps opponents on edge, while lightning-fast raids slow their economy and leave them questioning their life choices. It's a high-risk, high-reward playstyle that rewards patience, precision, and a little sadistic fun. Dark Eldar aren't here to win head-to-head slugfests, they're here to dance circles around everyone and vanish before retaliation hits. So, if you're looking for races that demand skill, creativity, and a bit of madness, Chaos Marines and Dark Eldar are your go-to. One will let you wreak havoc with demons and elite melee, the other will teach you the art of guerrilla warfare with terrifying speed. Both sit comfortably in C tier, not because they're weak, but because mastering them is an adventure in itself. And hey, mid-tier doesn't mean boring. Sometimes it's the dark side that keeps things fun. The races in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Space Marines and Imperial Guard. If there's one faction that almost everyone knows, it's Space Marines. They're basically the rock stars of the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Iconic armor, epic lore, and that sweet balance between offense and defense. Sure, some factions can outrange or outspeed them, but for a true fan, nothing beats commanding a squad of tactical marines while the universe burns around you. And let's not forget their cousins, the Imperial Guard, who are basically the relatable everyman soldiers in Power Armor's shadow. Space Marines are all about durability and versatility. Their tactical marines hold the line, Assault Marines zip in to punch troublemakers in the face, Terminators provide elite firepower, and Dreadnoughts stomp around as heavy walkers that make anyone think twice before attacking. It's a balanced army that lets you try a bit of everything without constantly fearing you're making the wrong move. Gameplay with Space Marines is forgiving, which is why beginners often start here. You can set up defensive perimeters, expand methodically, and respond to enemy moves without sweating bullets. Tactical Marines control territory, Devastators offer fire support, and Assault Marines can swoop in wherever chaos erupts. And when you're ready for the late game, combining Terminators with a Land Raider makes a push that's both stylish and deadly. But don't get it twisted, they're not the fastest faction. Space Marines are more about holding strategic points and dominating the battlefield steadily, rather than rushing or relying purely on brute defense. If you like a jack-of-all-trades approach with strong thematic vibes, these guys are a dream to play. Now, the Imperial Guard is the opposite flavor of the same universe candy. They're your old-school army with massive squads, cheap units, and artillery that can flatten enemies from afar. Think of them as the bring everyone and everything you've got faction. Sure, individual guardsmen aren't heroes, and Ogrins are a little slow to wake up in the morning, but quantity and proper positioning make up for it. Their core units are simple but effective. Guardsmen swarm the battlefield, heavy weapons teams provide static firepower, Ogrins punch hard in melee, and the Baneblade tank, well, it's basically a mobile apocalypse. Bunkers, mines, and artillery create a deadly fortress, but the key is to mix in some mobility. Cross enemy lines, blow up their buildings, and then retreat before they can respond. Imperial Guard is very forgiving for players with real-time strategy experience. If you've played Company of Heroes or any traditional RTS, you'll find their mechanics intuitive. Early game rushes, defensive entrenchments, and artillery bombardments give you tactical freedom, even if your basic units are fragile. You'll need to lean on vehicles and artillery later to keep pace with the late game power spike. At the end of the day, B tier is all about balance and accessibility. Space Marines offer that heroic, all-around flexibility with legendary lore, while Imperial Guard brings quantity, firepower, and classic military tactics to the table. Both are fun, both are iconic, and both let you experience the Warhammer universe without needing to memorize every complicated mechanic. They might not be S-tier monsters, but they sure feel satisfying to command. The races in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Orcs and Tau. Ever feel like smashing stuff and yelling, "Wag!" at the top of your lungs? Then Orcs are your kind of army. They're chaotic, aggressive, and cheap. Basically the faction that rewards enthusiasm over skill. Early game is their playground. Rush the enemy, disrupt their economy, and let your sheer numbers do the talking. Orc boys are your bread and butter, cheap infantry that get exponentially stronger in huge groups. Slugger boys zip into melee, looters bring some heavy firepower, and killer Khans act as light vehicles to back up your waves. The key, move constantly, don't sit back, hit, retreat, hit again. Orcs live and breathe aggression. Wag! Banners aren't just for show, they boost your unit's effectiveness and make your hordes even more terrifying. On small maps, this strategy shines. Overwhelm your opponents before they even know what hit them. Mid-game, you can start adding vehicle support, but remember, Orcs are all about infantry numbers and map control, not long-term defensive fortresses. Playing Orcs is as much about fun as it is about strategy. You can make rookie mistakes and still win if you keep the pressure on. They may struggle late game against fortified positions, but if your goal is chaos, speed, and pure Orky joy, this faction hits the sweet spot. Now, flip the coin and you get the Tau Empire, the calm, calculating, long-range specialists of the Warhammer universe. These guys are the good guys, all about defense, precision, and deadly firepower. Forget melee, Tau excel at standing back, picking off enemies, and controlling the battlefield from a distance. Key units include Fire Warriors as your standard ranged infantry, Crisis and Broadside battlesuits providing heavy fire support, and Hammerheads as your mobile tanks. Stealth suits can scout or harass, while Crisis suits offer flexible, mobile firepower wherever needed. Positioning is everything here. Place your units well, and your overlapping fields of fire can decimate approaching enemies. Tau require patience and tactical thinking. Close combat is a nightmare, so always maintain distance, retreat strategically, and never let your enemies get cozy. They shine in defensive playstyles, and with careful micro, you can dominate the map without ever breaking a sweat. So, a tier is all about forgiving power with potential for fun. Orcs let you charge in, scream, and wreak havoc with sheer numbers, while Tau teach you patience, positioning, and deadly efficiency. Both factions are satisfying in their own way, letting you feel powerful even if you're still learning the ropes. The races in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Eldar and Necrons. Ever dream of being untouchable on the battlefield? That's exactly what S tier brings to the table. Eldar and Necrons aren't just strong, they're a whole different level, provided you know how to handle their quirks. Play them wrong and they're fragile. Play them right and you'll make opponents weep. Let's start with Eldar, the speed demons of Warhammer 40,000. Their units are fast, deadly at range, and can teleport to wreak havoc behind enemy lines. Dark Reapers shred armor, Wraithguard are your elite anti-armor specialists, Fire Prisms offer mobile artillery support, and Warp Spiders teleport straight into the heart of enemy territory for instant chaos. Eldar are all about hit and run tactics. Warp Spiders can teleport behind enemy lines to destroy resource buildings and vanish before retaliation. Dark Reapers thrive on high ground for crossfire domination, while Fire Prisms roll in for precise mobile artillery strikes. Avoid large-scale battles until you have your Wraithguard ready. Patience and map control are key. Micromanagement is critical here. You need constant attention, moving units to exploit openings, avoiding unnecessary losses, and making sure your fragile forces don't get overwhelmed. Master this, and Eldar become an almost untouchable force, controlling the battlefield with speed and precision like no other faction. On the flip side, Necrons are the slow-burning powerhouses of Dawn of War. Weak in the early game, but if you survive those first skirmishes, they become nearly unstoppable. Necron warriors self-repair, destroyers provide mobile, heavy firepower, wraiths scout with phasing capabilities, and the monolith is your teleporting, command post powerhouse. Necrons are defensive maestros, hold choke points with warriors while your destroyers rain down fire from mobile positions, tech up fast to tier 3 and bring in monoliths. They can teleport entire armies and serve as a mobile command hub. They may not be flashy or fast, but try killing them once they're fully established. You'll see how frustratingly hard they are to take down. Early game patience is everything with Necrons. Don't overextend, survive enemy rushes, and focus on building your tech advantage. Once you hit late game, their self-resurrection and morale immunity make them a nightmare for anyone foolish enough to challenge them head on. So, S tier is about mastery and reward. Eldar require speed, skill, and constant attention, while Necrons demand patience, strategic defense, and tech management. Both factions dominate when played right. One strikes fast and precise, the other endures and overwhelms. Get these right, and you're basically playing the game on your own terms. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.